I know Kyle was having a show today. I was watching some of it.
Yeah, and Robin's having a show right now.
Yeah. Well, everybody, welcome to Country Boy Cryptids. Uh, I'm Chris. And today we got a special guest, Mr. Mike. I'm gonna make sure I'm saying this right. Bleuler.
Yep, that's it. That's that funky little German tongue twister of a name.
Is that where your last name? Is that where you guys are from? Or from Germany?
Yeah, that's
Area?
a last name for sure. Um, yeah, I just got off a show a while ago at 12. I went on Bigfoot Rob show. I get today's my encounter telling day.
Right. Right.
So, how you been, man? You been doing okay?
Oh, we're making it. We're
Yeah,
making it.
yeah. I
Yeah,
was just
I haven't did much here lately. I just ain't been able to get out and go anywhere yet.
yeah. Yeah, man, it's fixing. It's getting hot down here already. I think yesterday it got up to like 91 degrees already.
You probably hear my air conditioner. It's 83 here today.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I noticed a couple mornings ago, right before I woke up, I had to like tiptoe to the hallway and hit the thermostat because I was sitting there sweating in my bed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm hot like that, I can't sleep.
Yeah. I can't either. I can't sleep. I can take the cold. I can't take the heat though.
Yeah, because if it's cold, you can always put clothes on, but when it's like once you get hot, you can't pull off.
Right. Right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I was just talking to you in the studio. I want to tell you people that I'm gonna be putting a premiere out here pretty soon. I went and we went arrowhead hunting, and we stumbled across something in the bottom. I didn't really get a good look. I've tried to go back on my camera and look at it. It's kind of questionable what it is,
Mhm.
but it was making a funny sound. Like 100 yards away in this bottom, I can hear like weird sound. But the best way I can do make it sound, it kind of sounded like it sounded something like that.
That's crazy as hell. That's a
Uh,
weird sound.
yeah. So we walked towards it, and all of a sudden this thing took off. Whatever it was, I think it was already in the woods,
Yeah.
but it took off like a bat out of hell, man, and it was heavy. Whatever it was, heavy, heavy.
Mhm.
And I got you know, when I premiered, I'll be able to let everybody else kind of guess what it was. But it looked to be on all fours, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it could have been a hog because there's places got a lot of hogs, but it seemed like it was longer than that, whatever it was. But
That's
it was
crazy.
definitely on all fours,
See,
no doubt.
I don't know what all kinds of critters you guys got down there. I've never been that far down south.
Well, we got a lot of white-tailed deer, we got a lot of hogs. No shortage of coyotes. We got a lot of bobcats. We got a lot of gators and a lot of poisonous snakes. We got we got the eastern diamondback, which I'm sure you probably have that up
Yeah,
there.
I think that's what we got up here in Timber. I think we get timber rattlers too. I think.
Yeah, a timber rattler is just a smaller eastern, is all it is.
Yeah.
Um, we have a lot of cottonmouths, water moccasins, and we have a lot of copperheads too. Both of them are water snakes, though, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that can get you here, man.
No
Um,
doubt.
you
Now,
know,
is there a difference between a water moccasin and a cottonmouth, or are they? It's the same thing, just a different name.
some people it's a water moccasin, but sometimes people call it a cottonmouth because whenever it opens its mouth, the inside of the mouth is white.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen pictures. Damn, they're huge too. They get big. No, they like big around.
they get pretty big. They don't get quite as big as a rattlesnake, though. Rattlesnake,
Yeah.
big. The eastern does. The eastern is actually the biggest rattlesnake species in America. Now,
Mhm.
next to the western. The western out there gets pretty big too, but the eastern is the bad boy. Um, and you can also, I live 1 mile from the Gulf of Mexico, so you can go out 10 miles and get ate by a shark.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez, whiz.
that or you can go wading in the water and get hit by a stingray. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a
Well, I
lot.
mean, all the animals you just mentioned, I wouldn't make that noise. That's just a weird noise.
No, it was weird. It was loud too. It
Yeah.
like sound to it. It's like a. That's what it sounded like to me. I don't know what it was.
Right.
Uh, I'm gonna clear it out, but I have to do some editing on it because there's some cuss words and stuff like that I got to get off
Right. Right.
stuff like that. When you're with your buddy in the woods kicking it, you're gonna
Yeah,
every
you're gonna talk.
yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And we say it so much down here that we don't even realize that we're cussing. It's just like part of the language.
That's the way it is here too. Yeah.
You're around a lady or older people, you want to kind of watch your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I've heard some old ladies can give it out just as good too.
oh
You know,
God,
them older ladies, holy crap, they'll go off on you.
no doubt about it, man. I just seen. Hold on, just a second, Chris.
Okay.
All right. Do you watch any like combat sports or anything like that?
Yeah, I've watched UFC, and I haven't watched it here lately, but yeah, I've watched it. I like it. I just
Sibylla, gotta love Sibylla. She's drawing my Bigfoot right now. I don't know.
oh,
Yeah, she does a really good job. Really, really good job. She just finished the. Hey, Don. Don's a buddy of mine. I talk to him frequently on the phone too.
right.
Yeah, Don's a good guy. He is the one that. He's the one. If you go back to my show last night, that he had all the different variants of Dogman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's actually sent me some stuff to read. I just need to get time to do it.
I hear you.
Yeah. Going back to combat sports, I seen a funny thing today where Jake Paul is supposed to fight Nate Diaz.
Yeah, I seen something about that. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
The UFC is getting just as bad as pro wrestling, dude.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, when I was a kid, I loved it, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, I still watch wrestling. I mean, it's not as good as it used to be, though. You know.
Yeah. It's I'll still watch it a little bit, but it's like when you're a kid, you believe all that's real.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Once you find out it's kayfabe, it kind of takes the fun out of it,
Right.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go ahead and get to the encounter.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hear your story there. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and there's no pressure, so I can kind of paint a picture of what I was doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and this might even interest you. So Mississippi, we have an archery season, and then we have a primitive weapon season, and then we have a dog season, which is where they actually use dogs to hunt deer.
Mm-hmm.
Walker hounds.
Wow.
And then it'll go back to primitive weapon. Primitive weapon is basically like archery, muzzle loader. You can in Mississippi you can use like a 35 Wellen or a 45-70, but it has to be single action. It's an older gun.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know you could do that down there. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then it'll go back to a dog season, and the second dog season is really long. It's like 6 weeks long.
Oh wow.
And which you can hunt. You can still hunt during dog season, but it just sucks because there's
dogs.
Yeah, and they'll run their dogs right on top of you. They don't care.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let me explain about the dog situation.
Okay.
What they do is they spend a lot of money on these dogs. All these dogs have GPS collars on them. They spend thousands of dollars on these dogs.
Oh yeah.
And they'll circle off a huge area. Huge. You'll see Toyota 4-wheel drives just all up and down the dirt roads. They all got dog boxes in the back of their truck.
Right.
And when they turn them loose, whichever way the dogs go, they'll run the deer straight to the other hunters on the other side, and they just shoot anything,
Oh, wow.
anything. They don't care. That in South Mississippi, a deer has to have at least a 12-inch. It has to at least be. Hey, little girl.
That's my youngest one, Ellie.
So yeah, reminds me of mine. Hey.
Yeah, I come on live streams not that many times.
Yeah.
You know, did this guy see me one time?
Yeah, you can. He can see you.
Peekaboo.
She's ornery.
That's okay. We so what deer in Mississippi have to have like at least a 12-inch spread, and they have to at least be a 4-point. It has to be a forked horn deer. Okay.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, but these hunters, anything that comes out, it doesn't matter if it's a spotted fawn, a doe. If it comes out, it's dead.
Yeah, they just shoot it. Yeah, first thing that comes out.
And
Stop, Ellie. Come on.
not enough. There's not enough game wardens to keep up with all these people. You know.
Right, right.
They're not the game wardens are not in just regular national.
Yeah.
They're not. There's not enough of them. They're not fun enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they basically, it's lawless. It's basically lawless. And 9 times out of 10, they're either stoned or drunk, and I think it's disgusting. So I don't participate.
Yeah.
So that season used to come around, I used to go up counties up in a wildlife management area. Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was called Leaf River Management Area, and now up there they take care of it. A lot of game wardens.
Yeah.
If you go in there, you're getting checked. I don't care if they know you. You're getting checked. And if you have dogs with you, you're done. If you're a felon and with a firearm, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I used to hunt during this dog season, and I always had very good luck.
Yeah.
So where I was hunting at, right across from a game warden station, there was this north of this. I would take the road it traveled east and west, and to the right there used to be this huge ryegrass field. Chris, when I say big, it's like 200 yards wide and probably 1,000 yards long. Is it ryegrass, like as far as the eye can see?
Oh, wow.
And people that used to come in there and hunt used to they get up on that field. Well, deer in Mississippi are very skittish because of the hunting pressure in the first place. They're smart. They won't come on that ryegrass field to eat until it's dark.
Right.
Because they know all the dangers out the woods. Well, human wise, anyways. So, what I used to do, there was power lines that used to run adjacent to this field. They used to run north and south. I used to get all the way down to the end of this ryegrass field on the power lines, probably get about 100 yards behind it, and there was this space that was cut out on the east side of the power lines. It kind of looked like a triangle. I used to always call it the wedge.
Yeah.
And it had the perfect pine tree. It was only about 30 yards off the power lines, but when I used to always get up really high, 35 foot. So high I'd have to put a harness on, because if something happened, I fell, it's doomsday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, broken back, neck, or whatever. But I used to get up really high because I could see really far north down the power lines and very far south.
Yeah.
And right before, about an hour before dark, 30 minutes before dark, I used to have a lot of luck, because I would catch these deer slipping across the power lines to go to wait on the side of that field for it to get dark. I've killed all bucks that way.
Well, that sounds like a good place to hunt.
Yeah. Well, not anymore. Not for me.
Right.
So anyways, yeah, man, it was December the 16th of 2020. And then it was a normal day. I was, getting away from the dog hunters back down south.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, I'm going to go to my honey hole. I usually go to. And it was a really good day because there was no hunters anywhere.
Yeah.
There was not a hunter. Usually when I would roll in there, I'd see a truck parked somewhere or
Yeah.
they're hunting, but I didn't see anything that day. I went in there and did my due. Walked down the power lines, found my tree, got up, and I usually go really early too. Say it's probably getting dark about 5:30. I would be at the tree by 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, get your smell out the woods, stuff like that. Settle down, and I sat there and there was no action at all, man. Like not even like a squirrel,
Wow.
a couple birds chirping, and I started getting frustrated. I was like, this is strange because usually I at least see like a doe or a little yearling or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
out there messing around, and it was just no action. I was kind of like, man, I drove all the way up here and I'm not even going to see anything. Even if I'm not going to shoot anything, I still like to see stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So it got to be about 4:15, 4:20. I'm facing west. I got to let your audience know that.
Mm-hmm.
Power lines are running north and south. I'm facing dead west. I start hearing something about 4:20 behind me.
Mm-hmm.
It's off a little ways, probably 70 yards or so. It's coming through the woods and it's pretty heavy, whatever it is. It's not like walking in there really fast. It's kind of like almost like slipping, but I can hear it.
Yeah.
And it's taking big steps and it's breaking little small branches and stuff on the ground. Like, dang. And I didn't want to turn around because I didn't want to get busted. Okay?
Right. Right. Yeah.
It's a big deer coming or maybe a big hog. So, I'm just like a statue up in my tree, just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kind of cuts a little bit right, and like it's going to go towards the power lines, and it's walking in really slow, but it's heavy, whatever it is. And I got to remind you, South Mississippi, there's a lot of underbrush. It's really nasty.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of gallberry bushes and a lot of real bad briars and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We got bad briars. Yeah.
Yeah, if you run through the woods in South Mississippi, if you don't have like some Kevlar on or something, you're gonna get cut up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Same way here.
Yeah, and it gets about 30 yards to the right of me and it stops, and I'm trying to see it, but I can't see it because of all the undergrowth.
Yeah.
I'm right on top of it, whatever it is. I'm just angled down at it, but I can't see it, and it just stops, and I started hearing like breathing, like real heavy, like almost labored breathing, like real gurgly.
Yeah.
Really gurgly. It sounded like somebody that has like a real bad chest cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real bad congestion.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I heard that, and I was thinking maybe this is a hog or a deer that got shot, and maybe it's the blood filling up in the lungs. But I never heard, where I was at. If anybody shoots a gun, I'm gonna hear it from a couple miles away.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna hear it, and I never heard a gunshot, so I was very puzzled about that. And then I just waited like 5 minutes, and then I heard nothing. It was like I didn't hear the breathing no more. I didn't hear anything. So, that's another Twilight Zone thing to me. What just happened there? Was it maybe it was a deer coming in, and maybe he smelled me, or maybe he seen me, and he didn't blow, but he just slipped out, and I just didn't hear him.
Right.
Yeah. But it was a perfect day. The wind wasn't like blowing really hard. The wind was actually in my favor that day. It was coming out the dead north.
Mm-hmm.
It was in my favor. So I don't know how it could have smelled me. But I just gave up. I was like, wow, I'd really like to see what that was.
Yeah.
So I guess about another 15 minutes pass, and at this time I'm fighting the sun. I'm facing dead west, and the sun is just up over the trees a little bit, but it's blinding me. So I had to pull my hat down and to be able to look out there. And at some point, fighting the sun, I catch something in my right peripheral. It's black, and it's probably about 150 yards down the north side of the power lines. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like whatever it is on all fours. So the first thing, I'm supposed to wear glasses. I can't remember if I don't think I was wearing my glasses that day. Maybe I was wearing my contacts. I can't, I can't
Yeah.
see, I can't see too good far away. I can see
Okay.
perfect close.
Yeah.
But when I look through a scope, I can see perfect because, it magnifies it for you.
Yeah.
So I get, I shoot right-handed,
Yeah.
but I had to go left. I remember having to switch over and go left-handed because he's to the right of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at him, and I remember I had to crank the scope up a good bit to get it on him. And by that time, whatever this is no longer sitting on it's sitting on its butt now. It's
Mm-hmm.
butt like a human,
Wow.
like how you would picture a bear. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a black bear because we do have black bears. We
Yeah.
don't we don't have like a heavy abundance of them, but we do have them. So I'm looking at this thing. Right. Good evening, Miss Karen. How are you? Um, the first thing I noticed when I panned in on him was the hair on the back. The hair on the back, it was super long, dude. But it was hair. It was like human hair. Like I'm thinking bear, and I'm thinking bear. But when I looked at it really good, I wasn't getting like the double undercoat of a dog or a bear would have. It was like hair on the back, and you can see through the hair. You can see the skin. The skin was ashy gray.
Mm-hmm.
And I panned up to the top of his head, and the top of his head was different. The hair on the top of the head wasn't long at all. It was just short and spiky.
Short and spiky, like yeah.
Yeah, like the back of a gorilla's head. That's what it looked like. It
Oh, okay.
did have the conical shape. It wasn't really pronounced like some people say the top of their head looks like it goes to a point like a football. It was there, but it wasn't pronounced like that. I can remember that. So, I'm thinking to myself a million things. What is this? Is it? This has got to be a bear. Maybe I'm just looking at it at a bad angle, and the sun's doing this and or whatever. I had a million things going on in my head,
Right.
and all of a sudden it looks to the left a little bit, and I seen him make the move, and it scared me because it made me flinch.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I noticed, I seen a piece of one of his eyes, and I seen the right cheek, I seen the cheekbone, and I seen a piece of the nose. I'm looking for a snout of a bear.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, um, that creeped me out too. I'm like, now I'm thinking, okay, somebody's in the woods playing a joke on me or something like that. But they pretty much have a death wish, and it's so remote. For somebody to come in there and play a joke on me, they would have to go through hell and back.
To get to you, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew something was up here, and I just out of pure panic, that's when I yelled at it the first time. I said, "Hey," but really loud, like, "Hey,"
Yeah.
thinking I'm gonna run it off or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna run. I'm gonna scare this bear, and I'm gonna run it off.
Right.
And didn't happen. It was like every Midnight Rider. Yeah, he comes on my shot too. Good to see you, man. Thank you. Um, all in one motion, he pops up on the 2 feet like it's nobody's business. Just pops on 2 feet like it's nobody's business. He looked like he was so big, man. He looked like a Brahma bull on 2 legs.
Jeez, it was.
His back was huge, huge, huge. Um, he starts. I want to tell your crew this.
Uh-huh.
Imagine just a 400-pound human being sitting on the ground like in the grass.
Uh-huh.
To 2 feet, he's going to have to rock to the side a little bit. He's going to have to possibly grab onto something
Yeah.
to get up to 2 feet. this guy was easily 800 to 1,000 pounds, and he jumped up on the 2 feet like it was nobody's business. Nobody's business.
Wow.
And he starts walking in like this 20 to 30-yard little oblong circle. And he starts looking north down the power line, south behind him, my way. Every now and then, he kept doing that back and forth. It was like he didn't know. That's why I think he didn't know I was there.
Yeah.
He knew. I think he would. I think if he knew I was there and he wanted to scare me, I think he would have done something different.
Yeah, you was probably so high, and you and the winds, you know, he's not going to smell you when you're up that high. You know what I mean? I wouldn't think so.
I don't know, man. It's very puzzling. Or maybe he did know I was there and he was just
Didn't care.
didn't care. I don't know. You know, it's very puzzling. Maybe he's seen me in there before hunting, and maybe he was like, "Okay, when this guy comes back, I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna show him who's boss."
Right.
And it could have been, could have been that. I don't know. So he would look my way, but it was like he was puzzled. He kept, look. He would stare down the power lines, and then he would like turn around and stare back, like maybe like he was looking to see if anybody else was coming. I don't know.
Yeah.
But every now and then he would look my way and he would stop and his eyes would get really big like that, And there was a point where I think he pretty much locked onto me, but it was almost like he was confused of what he was looking at too, because, when I deer hunt, I never hunt in a tree where I'm skylined. I'm always blended in with the background. I always wear a mask, wear a camouflage ball cap on a mask, stuff like that. It's something to break up your silhouette.
Yeah.
And he locked onto me one time, and that's when I waved at him. I said, "I'm right here." You see the Patterson and Gimlin footage. You see the Freeman footage. It's always them walking away. They don't want to be seen. It was total reverse. Total reverse. Wow. He walked straight to me.
Oh, shit.
He starts walking in this weird manner. I'll explain it in a minute. So I grab my gun. I've got butterflies in my stomach. I don't know what the hell this is. I didn't, before any of this happened, I'm not trying to drag it out for you, but
go ahead. This is your time.
Yeah, before this happened, people asked me if I believed in Bigfoot. Yes and no. I guess I did a little bit, but I thought that was a problem out in the Northwest,
Yeah, not something right in your backyard in Mississippi.
Yeah, and it just wasn't on my radar. I've been in these woods all my life.
Yeah.
I've got lost in these woods overnight and had to sleep in the woods all night before. And
Oh,
I know,
wow.
and never had anything.
Bug deer or baller, yeah.
So he starts walking towards me, and the first thing I did, I grabbed my gun and I unbolted it just to make sure I had one in the chamber, and I slammed it back shut, got my gun ready, and by the time I looked back up, he's 30 yards in front of me from 150 yards.
Woo!
In a matter of 4 or 5.
Yeah, it don't take that long to shuffle. Yeah.
5 seconds is pushing it.
Yeah.
And he was right there. I don't know what he did to cover that much distance in seconds like that. But the way he was walking, I always tell people it looked like he was on a elliptical machine or maybe a pair of snow skis. Wow. Very creepy and very slow motion looking. But he was covering a lot of ground. He had to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's 150 to 100 to 30 yards. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, when I look, I jerk back because he's right here now. Okay, so I put him back in the gun, and I looked at the scope, and it was just a big old black blob. So I had to power my scope back down, to the that's when I put it back on him. That's when I got a really, really, decent, 100% good look at him, and it was pretty scary, man. The eyes. I'll talk about the eyes first. The eyes were jet black. There was no whites in the eyes. It was like he had black marbles in his eyes, like a shark's eyes. But they weren't round. They had like an almond shape to them.
Okay.
Yeah, and the eyes, you know how our eyes, they're kind of close in. His was further out a little bit. I do remember that. The mouth was big, not big lips, not big lips,
Just
just
a big wide mouth.
mouth. Yeah. There was a point where he did like a yawn thing when he yawned. That's when I got. I don't. I don't know. People say they do that. I don't know if that's just something they do or if he was. But he did like a yawn thing,
Mm-hmm.
and he opened his mouth up, and it was huge, man. The teeth were they were pretty white, man. That's why I think he might have been a younger one. I don't know. He was he was a young alpha, I think, because I didn't see any canines. Some people say they have the fangs and all that. I didn't see that. I
Oh,
was
I'm sorry.
I was. How many screens? Ah, Fresh. I'm gonna have Fresh on my show pretty soon. I'm fencing. Um. Anyways, he didn't have the fangs. It was square white teeth like ours, much wider, much thicker. Looked like chiclets in his mouth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the old candies, the square candies you used to get. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. But, white chiclets in his mouth. That's what it looked like. Uh,
Wow.
maybe he did have fangs, and maybe they were broke off. I didn't see anything like that. I seen
Mm-hmm.
it out of the mouth. The gums was very dark purple or dark blue. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and every now and then he would do something that would freak me out. Like he would shuffle a certain way, or he would do something with his face, and I would go to draw down on him. I had a gun on him the whole time, but when I say draw down, act like I'm fixing to shoot him.
Yeah.
When
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
I turn his head to the side like this, and he would look at me. He wouldn't turn his whole body, just turn his head like this, and he would look at me, and he'd give me the look like, "Don't you do that? Don't you do it? You're not going to shoot that gun." That's what he. That's what the look he was giving me. That's why I think they know what guns are too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to see the arms. The whole time he was standing there, he never, humans, we lock our leg out all the way straight. He had a slight bend in his knees the whole time, and I thought that was pretty trippy too. The hair on the chest was just as long as the hair on the back.
Uh huh.
Um, he was built, man. He was built. He had long arms. I remember the fingertips going past the knees. I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the hands were huge. The hands were like have you ever, I don't know if you ever been to like an Asian market before. You ever seen the little Asian bananas?
Yeah.
They were,
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen them
yeah,
before.
the fingers were that big. They were big, but they were
Whoa.
they were long, but they reminded me of you know, the circumference of the fingers reminded me of the little Asian bananas. They were big, big. He, he,
Wow.
he could have grabbed the top of my head and crushed it. No doubt about it.
Jeez, oh whiz.
The arms were he was built. He had big biceps, but it was weird because it was almost like his forearms were bigger than his biceps, and he had the long hair hanging off of the arms, like ghillie suit looking, very ghillie suit looking.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't do much though, man. Every now and then, he would. You could see the you can see the emotions in this thing's face. Like you can tell this wasn't no just regular just animal. This thing was thinking. I think he was confused like I was. And every time he would walk, he would shuffle to the side. He would walk sideways, but he didn't do it real fast. It was really slow. He would do it, and he stayed locked on. He stayed locked on to me for the best of 20 to 25 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how I did not stroke out. I don't know how I didn't have a heart attack. I don't know.
Right?
I don't know how I didn't puke all over the place because I had true primal fear going on at this time.
Yeah.
I For a minute there, I thought I was going clinically insane. No doubt
Yeah.
about it. No
I
doubt about
believe you. I mean, you see something like that in the woods, you know what I mean?
it. And
That
it's
would
not
freak you out.
anywhere. it's not going anywhere, and it's fixated on me. You know, it's almost like he was waiting to see what I was going to do next. I'm sitting there shaking like a box of rocks.
Right.
So, you know, this went on for the best of 20 to 25 minutes. It was a long time, and a lot happened in a very short amount of time, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I started noticing that the sun was past the trees now, and any time now, the sun's going to set, and whatever this is in the woods, I'm going to be in the pitch black with it. And the only
Oh,
for a flashlight was a little old rinky-dink thing that fits on the bill of your hat.
oh my gosh.
That's all I had. I didn't have a big flashlight on me that day.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I had to make a decision. You know, I said, this thing's, you know, it's not going anywhere. I have to get out of here. I'm going home. I'm
Right.
going home tonight. So, just out of pure desperation, I put the gun back on him. And this time he didn't turn his head to the side. He just sat there and looked at me. And I put the crosshairs not right between his eyes, but up on the forehead just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to squeeze off, man. I did the last little exhale you take before you just squeeze off,
Mm-hmm.
You always exhale when you take a rifle shot. It keeps you a little bit more steady, and you
Yeah.
just squeeze off. I got about halfway through the squeeze, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, Christopher. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, because I can imagine.
He looks so human in the face. So human in the face, it was ridiculous. I mean, he had the high cheekbones that said everything about Native American.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the face itself looked more caveman, more Neanderthal looking.
Okay.
But still had the human look to it. I was thinking to myself, if I kill this thing and I get to, I was close enough. With a 7mm Magnum, I'm sure if I would have squeezed off, I would have blew half of his head off. I know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 7mm. Yeah.
Close. But I was thinking, if I do this and I go get authorities, go to the game warden, just tell them I just killed. What is it that I just killed? Am I going to go to jail for the rest of my life for murder? Is
Right.
this people that the government is not telling us about? Because this was a person I was looking at. This wasn't no ape. This was a person. Humanity kicked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I gotta get a swig of beer, because if I'm this next part's pretty bad. Just give me just a second.
Hey, take your time.
So it's not going anywhere. I can't pull a trigger. What do I do next?
Mm-hmm. I
put my gun to the side, and I just stood up in my tree stand, and I just put my hands out to him, and I said, "What do you want?"
Mm-hmm.
But I said it loud. What do you want? When I did that, everything changed. Everything changed. He screamed.
Oh man.
And the power of that scream, before I describe it, just about knocked me out the tree. I can feel it when it hit me. When I was when I was overseas out at war, I can remember bombs going off like a mile away. Okay, a bomb would go off, and yeah, of course I'm safe. I'm a mile away, but you can still feel the heat off of it. It rumbles your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it did when he screamed. It was like I was holding on to a jackhammer, and it shook my body that much. And I could feel the heat off of his breath, or the power from the scream, or whatever.
Wow.
So what happened was, it was like a draw it from the gut. I got to see this from 30 yards away, and I hope you or nobody else has to see the way they do this, because at least the way he did it. It was like a draw up from the gut, and then when he turned it loose, his whole face, it's like his eyes closed, his nose, his mouth, his teeth protruded to the front of his face, and it just looked like it was like all mixed up and meaty and scrambled egg looking, and
Oh,
then
that's crazy.
back to normal. That's how much power was in that scream. It distorted his whole face. It made his face look like his face was melting when he did that.
Whoa.
Yeah, he drops back all the way down to all fours and jets across the power lines. And the way he ran when he was on all fours was really unorthodox looking, but it was super fast. I always tell people, you ever seen like a big dog, like a Great Dane run? You know how it's real lerpy and stupid looking?
Yeah.
It was like that, but it was super fast. He gets across the power lines. He starts ripping up gallberry bushes by the roots and chunking them out in the middle of the power lines. He's knocking down trees. He's not knocking down like full-grown 300-year-old pine trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's knocking trees down, and every like 15 seconds he screams again, and every time he screams, I can feel it. So I grab my gun, and I'm standing up in my tree stump, trying to pinpoint this guy. I can still see him a little bit over there. I can see like pieces of his shoulder while he's walking through there, but he's grunting, and he's doing some of the noise that he was making, I can't recreate him. It just sounded like he would scream, and then it would just be like like that.
Something like that. What do they call that? Samurai chatter. That have you heard that yet? Where they sound like they're talking.
Like that. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was similar to that, I guess, but it was more what I just did the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed he's going further north, but he's still pissed, dude. He's still ripping stuff up and screaming and grunting.
Oh, man.
He's gained a little bit of distance, and I want to say just about the area where I seen him the first time, he shot back across the power lines back on my side.
Oh,
and it even faster than when I seen him run away. It was just like a black flash was all it was. Now he's on my side, but he's further north. And he quit doing everything, but I can still hear him walking, but he's walking away. And I want to say he got probably about 100 yards, something like that. And I didn't hear him. So, I'm still trying to pinpoint this guy. And all of a sudden I hear this fresh tree break, man. It's like really fresh, like that snap, crackle, pop, that cut, pow, and then he vocalized again. I heard him scream again, but he's gained some distance. I said it's now or never, man. I come down that tree. I come down the tree and I hit them power lines and I started running for my life. I'm running.
Oh, yeah. I could imagine. I'd have been scared to come out of the tree. I don't know how you got out of the tree, honestly, God.
Oh man,
I would have had what I call buck fever so bad from shaking. I probably wouldn't have been able to get down out of the tree.
I think mine was just survival, man.
You get that rush of adrenaline, like get the hell out of here now, huh?
I guess I was thinking at the time I could start running. If I see him coming after me, maybe I can just turn around and shoot him. I don't know. I'm running. And it's like when I started running, he knew that I got out that tree because he started lighting it up back there. But he wasn't like coming towards me though. So I'm running, and I've lost a lot of weight since that time. I was probably 230 pounds back then. I'm $180 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a healthy boy back then. I was eating really good. So I get whooped, and a fast run goes to a really fast walk.
Right.
And walking, I start hearing something about 30 foot, 25, 30 foot in the woods next to me.
Oh, shit.
I know it's not him because I can still hear him lighting it up back there. But whatever's on the side of me now is mimicking everything I do. I run, it runs. I walk, it. I stop, it will stop. But I know it's something on the side of me because it's like when I stop, he'll take that, whatever it is, it takes that one extra step and it'll stop. When I first started running, I probably easily got 6 football fields to get to my truck, which is 600 yards, 650 yards, maybe longer than that.
And that's a long ways. I mean, think about it.
And I've hunted this spot hundreds of times.
Mm-hmm.
There's a point on this power line in between that spot and my truck where there's this plateau that comes out on the power lines. Not really big. It's about that big, and it's got like a few little pine saplings on it. Just some weird growth on the power lines.
Yeah.
And I always called that the halfway point. Well, after I was running and walking real fast for a while, I seen that way in the distance coming up. And I still got something paralleling me in the woods. Beside me. He is still back there lighting it up too.
Jeez, whiz.
So, like I said, I'm running, walking. So I see this plateau coming up. It's getting close, it gets within 80 yards. And, I'm thinking I might get out of here. But I don't, what about this thing? No, I didn't.
I would have. I probably would have. I would not kid you. I would.
Fresh, I promise you I didn't. I don't know how I didn't. I don't know how I didn't stroke out or have cardiac arrest.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. All that adrenaline pumping through you.
It's pure adrenaline. That's what I was running off of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I see this plateau coming up, but the way the woods are shaped, whatever it is, paralleling me is either going to have to go further back in the woods to hide itself, or it's going to have to show itself. And I start running towards this plateau, and this thing is so close, I can see like the bush is moving where it's running, but I still cannot see what it is. Can't see what it is. All this is going on. The plateau comes up. I finally had enough. I took a shot in the air with my rifle. Just shot one up in the air. When I did that, everything stopped. I no longer heard him cutting it up back there. And, I got past the plateau, and this power line had a huge hill. I always wondered if, copy, show us.
That could be. That's a
possibility.
Good theory. Yeah.
Good possibility. This power line has a huge hill. It's the biggest hill on the power line. I remember crossing that. I remember it was just dead quiet. Like you couldn't hear a mosquito fart. It was dead quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I crested this hill finally, and I seen my truck. It's still way down there. And it's so far down there, I can only just see like the top of my truck, like the roof of my truck. You couldn't see the tires or the body of the truck. I just seen the roof and a piece of the sun is done set, but it's it just set. I can still see pretty good outside, but it's fixing to be dark.
Oh boy!
When I seen my truck, man, I caught another gear I didn't know I had. I didn't know. I made it to my truck in no time. I didn't stop.
Wow.
I get to my truck and I can hear a voice in my head, my conscience saying, "Mike, get out of there. Don't ever come back here. You got lucky. This, that, and the other." I listened. I went around to my truck and I stuck the key in the door. And when I stuck the key in the door, I heard one last scream. And it was way, 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 way back there. I don't know if it was old boy that I seen or if it was the one that paralleled me, which I believe it to be another one.
Yeah.
Maybe the female. Who knows? I'm sorry, man. Allergies are bad right now.
I'm the same way. I don't know what it is, but my nose constantly runs. It don't stop. I don't know what it is.
That stuff in the springtime, it tears me up really bad.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like what you're thinking. Yep. So anyways, I heard one last scream and it was way back there, but it was different. It was different than from what I heard.
Okay.
Harry Arnold talks about this scream in his encounter. It's just like it, man. It wasn't like, the first scream I heard was more like a lion roar or being next to a train, when you're next to a train horn, how it shakes you and all that.
Yeah.
was more like a baboon screech, and at the end of it, it sounded like the crack of a whip, like a bullwhip.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So the road that I drove in on, if you go about 2 miles further down the road, it has a turnaround like a cul-de-sac. I used to always go down that and then just pass back through it. I wouldn't
Yeah,
pass. I wouldn't
no,
pass.
no.
No, that wasn't going to happen. I backed my truck up in the ditch and just about got stuck trying to get out of there. I got out, man. I was flying. I was in the middle of the management area, and it's just narrow dirt road, dude. It's a one vehicle road too. Like if somebody else is coming down the road, you have to basically get in the ditch to let them pass through.
Right, right. I know what you're talking. We little places, yeah.
Yeah. I was flying out of there, man. Every right, left hand turn, the ass into my truck was coming around, fishtailing. That went on for about a good 15, 20 minutes. And then I finally hit blacktop. When I hit blacktop, I caught up to Highway 26. And man, I had it to the floor the whole time. And it was just a old hunting, old GMC pickup truck, hunting truck.
Yeah, yeah.
I was probably doing a little bit over 100 maybe all the way home. I don't know how I didn't get
Pulled
stopped.
over and get there, yeah.
I caught Highway 26 to 15, and then 15 goes back to the coast. Usually takes me to get to that spot about an hour and 10 minutes. I was home in about 45, 50 minutes.
Oh, you was getting it then.
Yeah, I was getting it. I remember, I live in a city. I live in a small casino town, but I do live in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
But I can remember pulling up to my house. There's lights on everywhere. I'm in a city, and I was second guessing getting out of my truck.
Wow.
I finally got out my truck, and I remember throwing my gun on the bed, and I remember getting in the shower, full blast cold, and just laying in there like a baby, like in the fetal position, for like an hour, the best of an hour. And I remember getting up, drying off, putting clothes on, and I went to the couch and just passed out. I get, that's that adrenaline dump,
Yeah, yeah. He's coming down off of all that.
down off of it. And I slept a good 8 hours. I know I did. And I woke up the next morning, and just remembering what happened. And I thought it was all a dream. I thought it was a dream, every bit of it. Until I walked in my bedroom, I seen my gun on the bed, and I was like, "Wow, that happened."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, I couldn't do nothing for a long time, Chris. I ended up, I couldn't go to work. I ended up losing my job.
Wow.
I didn't do anything for about, I was a recluse for about 6 months.
I could imagine.
Yeah, I barely answered the phone.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. I started doing a little research after about the second or third month. I started to make sure I'm pretty sure.
You was pretty sure of what you seen, yeah, but
Yeah, I started doing research, and I started watching YouTube a lot, and I didn't know anything about Kerry Arnold at all. Me and him has talked on the phone. I was very close to Kerry Arnold, very close. And as the crows flies, his encounter happened about 40 or 50 miles from mine. Mine happened in Perry County, Mississippi, and his happened in, uh-oh. He must have hit a button or something. I'll wait for him to come back. There you are.
yeah, I don't know what happened. But wait a minute.
There you go.
I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah, I was just saying, I knew Carrie Arnold pretty good, and you know his encounter happened in Covington County. Mine happened in Perry County, and them counties not far from each other at all.
Yeah.
So you know, it took me about 6 months to start talking to people again and stuff like that. And the very first person I reached out to, I think it was Wes Gurman from Sasquatch Chronicles. I told that was the first time I told my story.
Wow.
The fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional being. Hey, I agree, man. I think I personally think that Bigfoots are interdimensional. I think they like our dimension, the third dimension. You know, that's probably where they eat and sleep and stuff like that. But if they want, you know, if they want to get away or teleport or anything like that, I think they can be extra dimensional. I think they're God gifted like that.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Absolutely. I've got so many pictures that proves it right, man. I've got a lot of pictures from Robin McRae. I've got a lot of pictures from other sources where these things are cloaking and doing everything.
Yeah, Robin's got some great pictures.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, she does.
She has some awesome pictures.
Jennifer Appleton also has some good pictures.
See, I don't think I know her yet. I haven't met her.
Hey,
I didn't never get to talk to Kerry because he just as soon as I got into this, he died. You know, I mean, he had that accident or whatever. Yeah, I never did get to meet him.
yeah. Um, hey, Mike, do you know what the title is on the Sasquatch Chronicles? Yes. It says that I think the title it's episode. It's episode. Give me a minute. 600 and oh god, but I do know the title. It says the thing was talking, and yeah, when we was talking about the Tasmanian devil talk, yeah, I told Wes that he was doing that, so that's what he named it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes away and comes back to me too. Like I'm sure I probably left something out on this encounter because there was so much that went on. It's hard to remember it all. Sometimes it's right there when you're thinking about it, and sometimes like I'll end the show and I'm like, damn, I forgot to talk about that part.
Yeah.
And it's just from trauma. Trauma does that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It messes with people's
Yeah, because
mind. Just
yeah, when he first, I just remembered something. When he first started walking to me, he was talking. I left that out.
wow.
He was doing that. You know, just that crazy talk. He was doing that.
How tall do you think he was?
About a roughly 130, 150 yards, a whole football field plus 20 to 30 yards.
Yeah.
40 maybe.
I mean, how tall was he? Like, you know, tall length.
Thing. You see, you're reminding me of stuff. If you go back where I went back to Leaf River, you know, a couple weeks ago, there's a dogwood tree right there. Did you watch that or no?
Yeah, I caught it. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks.
I found there's a dogwood tree right there. And when he was shuffling around, the first couple branches on that dogwood tree, he wasn't like ducking his whole body, but he was just moving his head around it, you know, to clear the branch. And when I went back there, that branch is 8 foot easy. So
wow.
So yeah, okay, 761. If you listen to that and you listen to this encounter or some of my newer ones, there's a lot that I left off on on Wes's show because
your mind,
a lot of came back to me. But yeah, sure enough, he was talking when he came to me also. It wasn't like a whole conversation, but he was making clicks and funny sounds with his mouth.
Yeah.
And there's another thing I do, the side, his cheekbones, like when like right before he opened his mouth, you know how you have that ball?
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Kyle? How are you, man?
Hey, Kyle.
I was thinking Kyle might have had a show tonight.
Yeah, he did. He had Darkwoods on.
Oh, cool. I had Darkwoods on yesterday.
I gotta get him on here. I just haven't.
I
had
still
a chance yet.
I still got to get Kyle on here on mine.
Right?
It's just everybody's busy all the time. You know how it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, um, Wednesdays and Thursdays, that's basically my weekend. You know,
Yeah, I know. I've heard you tell. You've told me that before. That's your days.
the other days outside of that, I'm slammed. I'm slammed,
Right.
especially the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm slammed. Um, but there was another thing that he did right before he opened his mouth. I always leave this out. What the hell is that? Oh, that's rain hitting my window.
Oh, you guys getting rain now?
Yeah, I guess. I
Oh
just
boy.
kind of like something crawling up my window, and then we're sitting there talking about cryptids, and
Right.
it's rain. Mike, have you?
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry.
Mike, have you considered leaving a white quartz stone out for him? Maybe that would convey you are curious and not intending to harm. Karen, it took. I've been back to that spot twice since my encounter. One, I went with like 8 people to retrieve my hunting stand and my book bag that had hundreds of dollars worth of equipment in there that was ruined from from the
Setting out. Yeah, weather. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, I don't think I'm quite there yet, Karen. I'm still I'm scared of them. I'm pretty scared of them, and it's not nothing to do against them or anything like that. It's something different. Hey boys, how you doing? I watched your show today, brother. You want to do next month? I can book a date. Or, yeah, yeah, man. Are you implying that you want me to come back on your show, or do you want to come on mine, or doesn't matter? We're bros. We can do it.
Yeah, he'll write something back here shortly.
Yeah, he will. But right before he opened his mouth up,
Mm-hmm.
I can remember the ball joints on the jawbone. It was like they would puff out and they would go back in, puff out and go back in, like somebody with a piece of. Best way to describe it: somebody's got like bubble gum in their mouth and they're blowing the bubble and sucking it in.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too. A lot comes back to you after years and years.
Oh, yeah. Because I mean,
Yeah.
any traumatic experience, anything like that, your mind's going to try to block it out.
So let me get back to that was the end of that encounter. So yeah, I couldn't go back in the woods for a very long time.
He answered you.
Yeah, we can definitely do something on my show, and hey, I would love to come back on your show. Absolutely. Um, where did I leave off at? Oh yeah, couldn't do nothing. I couldn't go in the woods for a long time.
Yeah.
The following hunting season, I hunted like twice, and it was on somebody's property right behind their house in a shooting house, and I had somebody in there with me. That kind of deal,
Yeah, someone, they're with you.
So the following hunting season this year, I just got here. Oh yeah, I know. So this following hunting season, I finally bromance. I think I got a bromance in the cryptid world these days. We both share the love. Hell yeah, yeah. Kyle, let me tell you a little story about Kyle. I went on his show, and Kyle met Carrie also, and became pretty good friends with him.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put words in Kyle's mouth, but I think Carrie kind of convinced him into doing his own show. I'm pretty certain of that. And Kyle did it. Well, he told me a couple years back the same thing, but I was just too scared to get on there. I thought I would be ridiculed to death.
Oh yeah, I know.
For me, but him making his own show kind of got me in gear to do mine. So
yeah.
But this hunting season that just passed,
Uh-huh.
that after the summer, I started going back in the woods again. Doing scouting and stuff, like not for Bigfoot or nothing, just deer sign.
Yeah, going out and getting.
And I'm thinking, that happened to me. It's a once in a lifetime thing. I got lucky. Well, I wouldn't call it lucky, but like, it's never going to happen again. You was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
So I started putting trail cams up again. This was in Pearl River County. This was right on the Mississippi River. Mm-hmm. Right on the Mississippi River. Probably, and further away too. Where I had my encounter was an hour and 10 minutes away. This was probably 2.5 hours away where I went. 2 hours at least. Carrie was very, very encouraged, and I'm happy you both decided to start your own shows. Mike, for you, I'm sure it's a healing. Oh, yeah, without a doubt, man. It's, every time, and I'm sure Kyle can relate to this. When you tell your story, it's like an endorphin pop. It's, it's good to tell it to get it off your chest, but, before you tell your story, before you actually do it, you think everybody's going to laugh at you,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, how do you go and have an encounter like this and then go straight back home and tell all your friends and your family, look, I was hunting and I've seen this 8-foot plus gorilla on 2 legs, but not really a gorilla.
Right. Yeah, so that'd be a hard thing to do. I mean, for anybody.
With black eyes that makes you look like you're staring into the abyss, but with a more Neanderthal / Native American / caveman look. Mm-hmm. How do you tell people that?
Right. I mean, could you imagine all the stories that hasn't been told because people, are afraid to be ridiculed? And
absolutely. And I'm going to start getting into I'm going to start getting into encounters a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I notice a lot of my shows here lately just pretty much kind of sitting around and talking and stuff like that. Encounters are important. It's important for the world to know. It's fun to sit and talk about how they can cloak and, how they have all these special abilities, which I believe every bit of it. But I wish more people would come forward.
Right.
I think them keeping their mouth shut about it, they're doing exactly what the government wants them to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think the government knows what they are and all that.
And there's all these different theories on why it's never been disclosed. The biggest one being the lumber company.
Yeah, oh yeah. It would kill the lumber company. It probably put them under.
It's the lumber companies is, they think people tend to think that the government's in. It's a life-changing event. For people talking about, then it becomes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I guarantee you this, Kyle. If I wouldn't have told anybody my encounter, I'd be in a straitjacket by now. No doubt about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that has to be put. I had to mess with your mind. It still got to today.
Yep. Now you haven't had an encounter, right?
No.
Doesn't matter. You're still doing the Lord's work, man.
Yeah.
You're getting people on here that
Oh yeah, I'm interested in it, and I like to hear the different encounters.
Stories, and that's you're doing the Lord's work without a doubt.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into the second encounter. I call it a second encounter. I did not have a visual, so therefore I don't know. So this last hunting season that just passed, like I said, I started going out in our season, putting corn out and trail stuff like that.
Yeah, getting ready for hunting season. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was, I was during archery season. I was going out. I was staying until dark up the
Yeah.
tree, and nothing happened. I'm like, I got cocky. Like I said, I'm like, well, that happened.
It
I'm
ain't
not.
gonna happen again. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let it destroy my passion. So sure enough, I went hunting a couple times and killed a couple deer, and but I never, but still to this day, I have to hunt really close to my truck. Like I'll never get further than about 200 yards.
I hear you. I
I used
understand it. Yeah.
I used to go a couple miles hunting sometimes.
Yeah.
Where yeah, I would be walking back in the dark like for an hour to get back to my truck.
Oh wow. You went way back in there. Yeah.
I've hunted places like that before. This was in Pearl River County. Different situation. Where in Leaf River, I was hunting. Where I had my first encounter. It was a power line, and it was a lot of hills, a lot of pine trees, real grassy. The second spot was a gigantic hill that went down into a swamp. But I was only like 150 yards from my truck. So I didn't get a visual, but I stayed in the dark. I went to hunt this spot because these trail cams that we put out, when it snaps a picture, it sends the picture to your cell phone. That way you don't have to keep,
Oh, okay.
the old cameras, you had to go pull the card and have a card reader and stuff like that. The new ones,
Yeah.
it snaps a picture, and as soon as it'll text it to you, and you know what you got in there. And I was getting pics of, decent, and a couple nice deer in there. So, I've done hunted a couple times, and I said, yeah, I'm going, So I went in there, and sure enough, same kind of situation, different terrain. I was down in like a deep, deep bottom, and I always high up the tree. I got up, and just like the first time, no action. Of course, no action. Go figure. Not even a squirrel. Maybe
Wow.
a bird chirps like the first time. That was it. No, it was just dead in there. And I hunted all the way to dark. All the way to dark. Nothing happened. So I get my stuff. I start going through my book bag and getting my flashlight and stuff like that to get down the tree. And I hear a tree knock, very close, right in front of me. So I'm educated now, and it's like,
right?
Yeah. As soon as I heard that tree knock, I get an answer right behind me.
Oh shit!
I'm just sitting here like, oh boy, and then I hear a whistle in front of me, sounding just like a human whistle, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this was one of them roads. It's one way in and one way out. If somebody would have came in there, I would have heard them coming down the road miles away.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm 20, at least 15 to 20 miles away from any kind of civilization at all.
Oh wow!
I had it on Google Earth. There's nothing there, but it's just woods and swamp.
Wow.
I hear a whistle, and it sounded just like a human whistle, but it was a little bit more sharp. If there's any difference, and I behind me, I said, "Oh no, I'm not doing this again. Nope. I grabbed my crossbow. I grabbed my pistol out of my book bag, and I clipped it to my belt, and I came out of that. And I wasn't very far away from my truck. The only thing is I had to climb this huge hill to get back up to my truck, basically. And as soon as, I'm coming down this tree, and as soon I'm in a bottom, there's a lot of dead leaves, a lot of dead twigs.
Oh yeah.
A bottom is what you guys would call like a holler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a ridge system. As soon as I put my foot on the ground, made that crunch, the woods exploded. I had stuff running in front of me, behind me, on the side of me. I had stuff running towards my truck, and I don't know what it was to this day. I mean, but it's just like the woods exploded. It could have been pigs. It could have been. That's why I can't 100% say Bigfoot, but
Right.
I don't know any pigs that whistle and knock on trees.
No. No.
I start making it out of that bottom, and I took a sharp left to start making this hill. And before I go on, guys, I did something very, very stupid and very, very unsafe. I did it out of just pure panic. Okay, I thought it was happening again.
Right.
As soon as I made the corner, I heard a very loud grunt to my right, and it grunted and then just started hauling ass away from me. And
Oh, man.
I emptied the whole magazine into something I couldn't see.
Right.
You know, like I said, it was the stupid thing to do. But the fear, the primal fear come back to me is what happened.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I emptied the whole magazine. I reached in my book bag and I grabbed another one and slammed it in there. And I'm trying to get to my truck. And I'm trying to make this hill. And this hill's pretty steep.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a 12-12 pitch, like straight up and down, but it's steep.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's points in there where I have to like grab onto a bush to pull myself up.
So you have like a little ridge to climb.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And stumbling to get up this hill. And it finally gets, I'm just about straight up, on flat land again. And as soon as I stepped back on flat land, I heard the same exact thing to my right. A grunt, and then just something running. And I emptied the other magazine, dude. Emptied the other one. Into nothing.
Yeah.
I always carry three magazines with me. I went in, I got to the road, I seen my truck, I got in there, and I got out of there. Now, I didn't drive crazy like I did last time. I drove pretty responsible because if I would have went off the road here where I was at, I would have been spending the night there.
Yeah, you definitely didn't want to do that. That's for sure.
Have service on my cell phone. I'm surprised. It's so remote, man. I'm surprised that these tree cams are able to send pictures back to me.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because you have to have cell service.
Oh, yeah. I never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was taking pictures, and then every once in a while, when it get like a weak signal, it would send it. Maybe I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, or maybe the antennas on them thing are stronger. I don't know, because they do have the big antennas on them.
Now, how close, like from your first encounter to your second encounter, like how many miles away was you? A big distance?
From my house?
Well, no, from your first encounter to your second encounter, like
county. Oh God, I would say I would have to look that up, but I want to say probably at least 60 to 70 miles away.
We don't know. They could travel that far, we just don't know,
Well, me and Carrie's encounter was where he had his encounter, and where I had my first one was even closer than that. It was like 35, 40 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it was Bigfoot, because once you have an encounter like that, when you go in the woods by yourself and you hear any little thing, it's like
it brings it all back again, I'm sure.
But that's interesting because I did get the whistles and the tree dogs, so I don't know. I didn't put my eyes on it, so I cannot say for sure it was Bigfoot. But like I said, I don't know any pigs or other animals that beat on trees and whistle.
No.
And then,
that's sure.
So I got one more thing to tell you guys. I love to hunt and fish, but I also love to go looking for arrowheads. That's another passion of mine. Indian, I've got a bunch of good points, throughout the years. I collect them.
Uh-huh.
And, I've found all kinds of stuff. I found pottery. I found a lot of stuff. I found a big ceremonial spear one year, and I had people hit me up telling me to put it on eBay that it can go for a couple $1,000s. I just not interested in that, it's a collection. Why collect something if you're just going to sell it,
Right. Karen got a question for you there. Mike, did you get the feeling that it was the same one or a different one?
Karen, I don't know. I never thought about it, but I can tell you this. And this has been, I've told this story to a few people in the cryptid world, the likes of Robin McCrae and other people. They say once you have a face-to-face experience with one of these beings, that you're tagged. It's like you're tagged for life. Like anywhere you go where there's cryptids, they're going to let you know they're there because maybe if they're interdimensional and they can just they can portal out and go to a different place. I don't see why it couldn't have been the same one. But then
Yeah.
again, things have a language like we do.
Oh yeah.
They have a language. So who's to say they don't gossip like we do? Hey, I seen this idiot in the woods up in Leaf River and scared the ever living shit out of him and talked to some other ones, and then it got
Yeah.
down the line and to the ones over there. I don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know. Yeah, I've heard her talk about that before.
Yeah, they
It's pretty awesome.
had an experience, and it's usually tied to a UFO too. I don't remember seeing any UFOs except from one time. I did see a UFO one time.
Mm-hmm.
It was when I was overseas in Iraq. I seen, and it wasn't like in my face kind of deal, but the nighttime out in the Middle East is a lot different than the nighttime in the United States, especially in a third world country like Iraq. There's not as much light pollution, so
Mm-hmm.
when you're in the sky at night, you see everything. You see the whole Milky Way up there.
Wow.
Something up there one night that I thought was a satellite at first, but the way it was moving was just no way it could have been a satellite at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was covering distance and then jerking back, and then it was just no way.
Yeah, I've had
But
a
it
UFO encounter.
was up there, looked like it was close to the stars,
Yeah,
whatever it was.
the one I seen come up over the ridge and above my neighbor's house, and I've never seen nothing move as quick as it did. Side to side and up and down. It was just a big white. It looked like a big white light in the sky. Just a round, perfect round circle.
Yeah. I got a lady coming on my show whenever I can get her on. I want to get her on as quick as I can. She's from Georgia. She's seen a female Sasquatch in the woods. Now listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
It was so lean and human looking, so feminine looking that it basically looked like a naked woman in the woods with just a little bit of hair on it.
That's crazy. Wow.
That it was lean, like a basketball player, like more human looking than a creature. Like she says it looked just like a tall, naked woman in the woods, basically.
That's crazy. I mean,
yeah, that's crazy. And there's another guy I talked to. I think Fresh, if you're still on, you might have heard this story. This guy had been abducted his whole life, even when he was a kid. They had him tagged, and like once a year they would take him, and he wouldn't be. They would zap him, and then he would wake up on the craft, and they would him, and it was all mind speak because they don't. I don't think the ETs have the. I don't think ETs have the voice box that I think they do everything telepathy.
Yeah.
He was used to it, because it happened to him so many times, and he said he knew when it was going to happen because he said it usually happened during the middle of the day, and he knew when it was going to happen because his body would get real fatigued, like tired, like he had to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And he said it happened so much when he was little, he just gave into it. He was just kind of like, well, okay, well, let me go to sleep.
Wow.
And he said one time he woke up aboard, and these things were talking to him. It was all through the mind, and there was a Sasquatch. There was a Sasquatch aboard, and he started freaking out, like kicking him and stuff. He didn't want to be near it,
right?
Because he didn't know what it was. Well, he knew it, but it didn't make sense for one to be on an alien craft,
right?
And they told him, they said, "Do not worry." So he's just a helper. He's just a helper.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is, ain't it?
Yeah. I'll tell you what else is crazy, man. That stuff, the land in between the lake stuff is
I
crazy.
know. I know. That stuff is creepy. That's a creepy place
That's the
for sure.
Dogman stuff. And Dogman, hey, I believe Dogman. After seeing what I've seen, I believe anything now. But I just don't know where to put Dogman. I don't
Hmm.
put it. I
Right.
just I'm glad that I seen a Squatch and not a Dogman.
Right. Right. Yeah, because they say the dogmen are really, mean.
Yeah, they got the Dogman Chronicles of Taylor, Mississippi. I've got the Don Moore, my buddy Don Moore sent me some stuff on Taylor, Mississippi, and I've read through it. I haven't read it. I'm supposed to read it on my show, um, but it's pretty bad. They had a bad experience with them things over there. They probably still do. But the land in between the lakes, the only story I heard of that is where the kids that had the camper trailer and the dad drove them out there,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
slaughtered one of the kids, and then the dad went to try to help his kid, and it ended up killing him. So this kid that rode with him ended up getting up under the motorhome and crawled up into the foundation of it, so the thing couldn't get him.
Hmm.
And all these government officials ended up showing up and all that. They was all telling, "You seen a bear? That was a
Yeah.
bear."
Yeah. There's been quite a few stories out of there on Dogman.
I have Brian's asking, "Have I had?" No, I have not. It would, I haven't, not at home. I hope I never do. But I'm in
Right.
the middle of the city, man. There's not a whole lot of woods or nothing like that.
Yeah.
And unless one morphed inside my house or something. But no, I've never had anything. Not at this house. My old house that I lived in, the house I grew up in, is yeah. It was it was built. We lost that in Hurricane Katrina.
Hmm.
It was built in 1876. We had a lot of spirits and stuff in there.
Yeah. I could imagine down south all the entities, not entities, all the spirits that are still wandering around. 'Cause, you get a lot of history down there.
Yeah, yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
So,
That's.
who you betting on? You betting on Jake Paul or you betting on Nate Diaz?
I'm gonna go Nate Diaz.
I just can't stand Jake Paul, man.
Well,
It,
now he's into wrestling too.
well, no, that's his brother,
Oh,
Logan.
Logan. Oh, okay, yeah, Logan.
Yeah, he's just too. Jake Paul's just too. What's the word I want to use? He's too cringe for me.
Right.
Yeah, and he got beat by Tommy Fury, and I watched that fight, and when Tommy won it at the end, I was like jumping around like a little girl.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but it didn't shut his mouth none. Didn't shut his mouth none. All right, man.
Yeah.
Would we at an hour and a half?
Yeah. We're at an hour and a half.
Ask, ask your people if they have any more questions or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Help me do that. We just got something on here. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask Mike?
Hello, Christy. Yeah, give them a minute. Sometimes it takes them just a minute to type and all that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I the UFC, and I grew up watching boxing too. And
I'm a big boxing fan.
yeah, it's finally getting good again. It's finally getting, it was dead for a while. Once UFC took off, people started watching more UFC.
Yeah.
But I did watch the Tank and Garcia fight. I thought that Ryan would have gave him a little bit better fight than that, but it just goes to show you how good Tank really is.
I,
Yeah.
I grew up when Tyson was the man. Oh man, he was such a tough fighter.
Who's that?
Mike Tyson.
Oh God, yeah, I love
He,
Tyson. I
the only
watched.
bad thing about watching his fights is you pay all that money because back then you had to pay for it. The pay per view, and it only lasts like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? If that.
Yeah, or a lot of first round knockouts.
Oh yeah.
I grew up on that, and when I was a little kid, man, I let's see, my Fresh wants to know. He says, "Do you wish to know any more, or is it now a closed case?" I'm always open to anything, Fresh. You know that. I wouldn't do these shows if I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And I grew up on
Yeah, Mike Tyson was a beast, man.
yeah, I watch his podcast, the Hot Boxing. I watch that all the time. Yeah, he's changed a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
He's chilled out.
Oh,
Definitely.
he has.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
he was
he's
a
way more chilled than what he used to be.
he,
I think he finally got his head on his shoulder.
yeah, he was a menace to society at one time. That's for sure. But before all that, I was the pro
Yeah.
wrestling. My favorite.
Oh, I'm a big wrestling fan.
Yeah, my favorite guy back in the day was Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh yeah, Jake the Snake. He's got his own show now too. Have you watched
Yeah,
any of it on YouTube?
I watch Ric Flair. He's got one now too. I watch Flair
Yeah.
stuff. Flair
Yeah.
out of Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. I don't know who's got worse injuries doing that shit.
Oh yeah.
You know, people just because it's fake doesn't mean they don't get hurt.
Oh yeah. I mean, you remember when the Undertaker threw Matt or
Yeah,
Foley went clean through that steel cage at the
yeah,
top, and
he threw his nose when he got
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yep.
He threw what's his name? Remember the big Samoan guy that was on there? Shatik. What was his name? Something Tiki.
Shatiki or something like that.
Yeah, remember he threw him off into the back of that truck that had them hay bales in it, off of the top. Okay.
I remember down here in Biloxi when I was a kid. It was back. It wasn't WWE. It was Mid South Wrestling.
Mid
And
South.
my very first match I went to was Jake the Snake Roberts versus Lord Humongous, and it was a cage match.
Oh, I bet you it was good.
Look, dude, he slammed Jake's face all in the cage the whole fight, and at the end, Jake finally got a chair and busted it over his head, and then DDT'd him on top of the chair.
I love bro. I used to love.
Yeah, Jake was crazy back in the day too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's pretty messed up now. He's paying for it now.
Yeah. The reason I come up with the wrestling stuff, I seen not long ago where you and Kyle did like a
little. Yeah, we did a little wrestling show. Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, did you see his belts? Holy crap! He had some nice belts, custom belts he had made.
Oh yeah, he did.
The wrestling belts. Yeah.
Yeah. That night, well, that was the main event, and then Hacksaw Jim Duggan fought. I think it was JYD fought that night. Junkyard Dog.
Yeah, I remember Junkyard Dog. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Hacksaw Jim Duggan looked like a big dude. Like
he's that guy that did the Brain Buster. That was Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch. He fought that night too. He fought Ted DiBiase that night.
There's another guy that was a big time wrestler. Yeah, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
Yeah. This was before he was the $1 Million Man. This is when he was just Ted DiBiase. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
Went to the dark side when he was the $1 Million Man, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I think. When WCW did that whole, they had NWO. I think it kind of killed Hulk Hogan a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Even though it's fake, we grew up with him, you know, always being the good guy, you know.
Yeah, and then he turned back. The other one, the tag team guys, you had the Rock and Roll Express, and they all fought the Midnight Express.
Why does it have to be so dark in here?
Yeah. Oh, the Road Warriors, they was crazy.
Yeah, they was. And the Herders.
What was it now? I didn't hear you. You kicked out a little bit.
Do you remember the New Zealand Sheep Herders?
Oh, yeah. They used to come out acting crazy, like, yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. I got to go now, man.
I hear you, yeah. Yep, I hear you. Well, thanks for being on, Mike. Tell everybody where they can see you at and how to get it.
You can catch me.
Wait,
My
are
channel,
you done?
Red Creek
Are you
Mafia
almost done with your show?
77.
Yes.
That's Red Creek Mafia 777. You can catch
Oh, well,
Red Creek Mafia 17, or you can
bye.
Facebook. My name is Mike Bleuler. BL.
Yeah.
Bye.
You need to start your Red Creek Mafia page on Facebook.
Yeah,
That way you can post, post your stuff.
yeah. I think I'm gonna do that here pretty soon. Yeah, I need to do a lot of Chris. My show. I want to do like I need like an intro for my show.
Yeah, I
You know,
need someone to do. I can't do it. I've tried and tried, and I'm not computer literate enough.
I
Yeah,
off my cell phone.
yeah,
Yeah, and I have a nice laptop. Finding the time to do it, man.
I hear you.
That's like this premiere I'm fixing to do that I need to edit, and I know I edit it, but it's just going to take me a long time to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
Can I turn the TV on?
find time, man. It's hard
Can I
to
turn the TV on?
off.
Daddy?
yeah. It's hard to do.
Daddy?
Yeah,
I mean, you gotta know how to make the picture smaller. Would you leave me alone, kid?
Daddy?
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm going to try to maybe pick Kyle's brain or LIB Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah,
Yeah, pick his brain a little bit too, and yeah. I tell you what, Mike's another good guy, man. He's helped me out tremendously.
yeah. He gets a lot of action up there where he lives up
Yeah,
there.
did you see that Did you see the white Sasquatch?
Yeah, I seen some of it. I didn't get to watch it all. I try to watch a little bit of everybody, and you try to keep up with it. It's hard to do.
Yeah, it is, man. It's a lot of work. Well, Chris, I appreciate you having me on, man. I'll stay locked onto your channel, see what you got going on, and maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, we'll do this again. Yeah, that's for sure. I appreciate you coming on.
Peace out.
Absolutely, guys. Well, peace, guys. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Okay.
We'll see y'all next Thursday.
Bye, sweet girl.
She's ornery.
Bye. Bye.
Well, everybody, go make sure you check out Mike's channel on YouTube, Red Mafia 777, and check out Encrypted Connections, Kyle Conley. They got some pretty good shows. Yeah. I'll see you next Thursday. I don't know who's going to be on yet. I'm still working on that. So I'll put it in the Facebook group chat or whatever. But thanks for being on the show. You all have a good night.
Thanks.
Hey, we'll see you later, Fresh.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.